any fitness books? I don't know. I know I had that question there, but I don't know if that's something that you're big on.
I like to, so I have, yes. So I'll tell you real quick, I'll take a slight tangent. I have a canine personality. It's something I learned from Tony. I may have told you this in our first interview. It stands for CANI, constant and never-ending improvement. So whatever I'm into, and I'm into improving everything, Ashanna, whatever I get into, I'm like, I can do this better. I learn it. I read about it. I can do it. So everything I do, that's just the way I am. So yeah, so I actually have 3 books here, not in any particular order, but one's by an author named Paul Chek, Chek. It's called Movement That Matters. And Paul Chek is a really interesting fellow, but he's one of these deeply spiritual guys, really deep spiritually, but also one of the most grounded, powerful, like confident kind of guys you've ever met. I've never met him, but if you were to check out his podcast, it's a weird dichotomy of like someone who's doing like ayahuasca, for those who know ayahuasca, was something that amazingly deep, powerful conversation. He reads like a book a week, like, and not like playbooks, like legit books. Anyway, but he came up with a concept called the primal movement patterns, which is these 7 movements the body does regardless of the exercise. And if you're able to do these movement patterns, the body's healthy and doesn't get injured, it stays very strong, etc. And a lot of exercise routines that you look up that are successful follow his primal movement pattern. They may not credit him, but that's one. Second one is called MoveNat, and there's a book called The Practice of Natural Movement. The author is a French author named Erwin Lecour, Lecoure. And this, for me, hits me on such a fundamental level of who John is. I'm a very playful person. I have a very grounded, confident, like warrior kind of version. And then I could play with kids all day and go climb trees. And if there was adult playgrounds, like to run around and do stuff, I would do it. And MoveNat is based on the concept of natural movement. That like you have to go under something, you have to, I don't know, climb a rope and jump over here. Like it almost, if you guys ever see where they're like running through towns and doing these rolls and all that, it doesn't have all that, but in other words, the way that person has to move, it's not looking for aesthetics. It's not like, oh, I look great in a swimsuit, but I will never get injured. And I can do anything at any time, whether that's lift myself up to here or, you know, but for me, it has kind of a playful vibe and very practical vibe. So that's called MoveNat. And then third, and this one's, I guess, a little more modern and practical for those who like modern and practical. It's called Complete Calisthenics, and it's by Ashley, and I have terrible penmanship, Kalym, I believe, is her surname. Anyway, and all calisthenics means body weight exercises. So you think of push-ups, squats, and all that. And a lot of what these guys do is calisthenics. So if you're someone who has some basic, because you don't need a lot of equipment for this, but some basic equipment, it's this like 400-page book of all the amazing exercises to get yourself in incredible physical condition. Kind of like if you guys know like a gymnast kind of physique, they'll show you how to do that from start to finish. So for those who love practicality, Complete Calisthenics. For those who love to be playful and move and be free and vibrant and just roam around the countryside, that's MoveNat. And Paul Chek is kind of a little bit of all with the movement pattern. So yes, I do read books, and there's some great books on flexibility as well. But the author's name is a really interesting Russian one, and I couldn't find it in my library before we got together, so apparently it wasn't meant to be shared today. But yes, so those are some really good books. I think that would benefit anyone who's looking to get fit, more limber, and not injure yourself. But none of these, I mean, except for calisthenics, are going to make you like a bodybuilding physique. They'll make you incredibly efficient and very powerful and strong. But none of these will make you necessarily big, if that's what you're looking for. Get a fitness book or, you know, like a weightlifting thing if you want that.
Yeah, that Paul Chek guy sounds like that's up my alley.
Oh, you would love him. Love him.
Sounds like I would love him, because when you said the ayahuasca thing, I was thinking about Aubrey Marcus, who you may have seen. He has a podcast as well, and he's like, so I thought about that, and I thought about somebody who's like really into who's grounded as well and like physicality. And I feel like the two things you mentioned, I feel like that's very much me. So I was like,
Mm,
yeah, like who likes to talk about things that are out there and spirituality and just broadening the horizons of the mind, but then also very grounded and connected to the body and fitness and stuff. So I was like, that sounds like my guy. Um, so I am curious though, because I think everybody now finds a lot of interesting things on social media. And sometimes I just go on YouTube and they have the algorithm. So based on what you're interested in, they'll show you things that trend with your interest. So
mm,
I wondered like who you follow online and who inspires you.
good question. One of my favorite people is the guy who wrote The Monk Who Stole His Ferrari, or yeah.
Sold his Ferrari.
So thank you. See, so you knew it. Robin Sharma is his name. I took a course of his from Mind Valley 2 or 3 years ago. It was 5 to 15 minute things. And I bought it with my wife. And it was one of those courses that I thought I'd be doing one class for 45 days and like, oh, that was really interesting. Every single class of these 45 was so deep, I needed 1 to 2 weeks to digest it. It was one of those like, whoa, right. So he's exceptionally deep. So I don't follow a lot. I tend not to live on social media because there's just a lot of nonsensical information on there. So as simple as crazy as it sounds, is I typically just tell people I love you, happy birthday. I'll post, and I will see those things. But a couple other people, like I do follow. There's a guy in the States named Grant Cardone who has a sales and real estate company. He's a very aggressive kind of person, but he also has there's aspects of his personality I think are really cool. And what I love about him is he's like the true rags the riches kind of history kind of thing, and he's very real. So I'm not. He's one of those people that, again, I think he annoys people or rubs people the wrong way because he's just so blunt. But I
Yeah.
think he's being authentic too, if
Right.
that makes sense. And I think authenticity is the thing that, especially in the online space, one of my challenges with I used to follow a lot of people in like the personal development space, and the challenge I found is my vibe was that they weren't all being entirely authentic. Maybe just portraying this to be that, if that makes sense, to kind of be this person. And and certain people always just felt real, or I just didn't jive with them. They could be totally authentic. I just couldn't be not jiving with them. But so I would say if I were to name a couple, Grant, because Grant's crazy, but also Grant has written some books that I find naturally inspire me to act, where I don't have to push myself. There's a book called Be Obsessed or Be Average. Great. I actually like it better. It's the follow-up to 10X. Most people know him from 10X. It's the follow-up book to that. Not good if you're someone who likes to chill and sleep and do nothing. It really will fire you up. And it may feel too aggressive, as an FYI. And then I just love Robin. I love Robin Sharma. So I would say those are the top two that come to mind on who I follow. Because generally I just like to, I'll connect with friends who I kind of jive with and tell them how much I love and appreciate them, and I wish them well and all that. I enjoy spending my time online doing that because the world needs a lot of upliftment. There's a lot of turmoil happening. So if I can send messages of love, peace, we got this, everything's going to be okay kind of stuff, and celebrate the little things, people are able to get past the stuff that often gets in our way. Like we feel a certain way. I'm like, that's not important. Be in the moment. Like it'll be someone's birthday. Celebrate your birthday, really celebrate. Don't say happy birthday, yay me. Celebrate it. Like have a great day. And for me, it just feels really good to shower people with love and appreciation. So I generally do that, and a little bit of paying attention to my buddy Robin or whomever.
So just a random question based on what we were discussing before about the fasting. Do you think that you will reach the threshold of not eating food in your lifetime?
I think I'll reach that this year.
Really?
Well, so let me tell you something that's fascinating. So earlier I described the ebb and flow of fasting. of the water fast. So when I typically go through it, so let's say I'm at exactly 100% maximum energy. I feel pretty good. 100% right now. When you go into water fast, there's two states. One, which is like you are so unbelievably tired. Ashanna, 30 to 40% energy. Like I'm standing right now, standing desk. I have a chair behind me and all that. The entire those days, I sit all day. And I have the meetings, I have work, and I'm aware and I'm conscious, but I'm not dun, 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 John, right? And during those days, that's when your body does deep cleaning. So, because your body actually self-eats and all this kind of, it's called autophagy. But when you do that too, you're incredibly exhausted. And no joke, like this past water fast, the first 5 days, that's all it was. And the challenge with that is you have a fever. So I can't go anywhere, because everyone's going to assume I have some terrible virus, you know? So, but your body naturally creates this fever to burn up and clean up these things when you're fasting. So you have a fever, not a crazy fever, but a fever, and you just feel tired, right? And then, and this is what really made me excited. There's usually a levity period where it's like still not 100%, but like 50 to 70% energy, pretty good, but not great. The last 2 days of this fast, I almost felt normal. I was telling my wife, like, and she's like, John, your energy is different. Your whole new energy. I was like, yeah, what's up? What's up? Because this is, and this is something I really, really love to tell people. There's, whenever you experience the feeling of this is awful, I'm giving up. No, don't guess. Know that you're literally on the cusp of a level up. Because what happened for me is so again, I've done, so let's say that's 55 days of total fasting in the past 12 months, if I include this week. And then those last 2 days, it was suddenly easy. Like I don't know how long it could have gone, but the point is I was like, I think I'm getting there. I think I'm actually getting there. It was a really, really neat experience. Now, here's what is supposed to happen, Ashanna. All the weight loss part that happens stops because your body doesn't use the fat anymore. It uses like source energy instead of that. So I think there's a possibility, and I would rather have that be my objective of achieving that and not have it happen than not have it. So I would like that. So latest I'd like to have it be next year. That would be my goal. But again, I like to push myself for big things. So yes, I would like that in 2021.
That's so cool.
What's that?
I said, that's so cool.
Yeah. So we'll see. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
No one's going to believe me. No one's going to believe me. I'll have to go to people's lives and like, I'm not eating. They're like, you're crazy. I'm like, you have food hiding.
He's like, nobody's going to believe me.
No, they're not. They're going to think John's just crazy. So I'm okay being the crazy one.
That's so funny. So one of the things I wanted to ask about as well is for persons who, because I think, and some of these things we touched on in the first interview, so there's some overlap, but I know a lot of persons experience this, and I think I've kind of danced with it as well, where you're so motivated and you want to do so much with your business and you want to hustle this much because you have these big goals, but then you experience this kind of burnout where it starts to have a negative impact on you, on your health and your wellness and all that. How do you think persons can safeguard against getting burnt out as an entrepreneur specifically? Like, how do persons achieve the success they want in business, but also maintain a really good level of health and vitality?
I love it. You always ask the best questions. So,
listen, AC, I know you can't reply yet with your audio and stuff, but listen, John is such a mama guy, right, girl? And I know she know.
I'm a deep appreciator. That was a great question. So I'm going to reference our buddy Robin, because I got this from Robin Sharma. And what I would suggest is, one, when you feel the burnt out, listen to your body. Don't push through. You push through, you get legit disease. Not, oh, I'm tired, like bad stuff. Like, don't let that happen. Your body's giving you a signal for a reason. But there is a way, and there is a way. And I have a client whose name I will not name, but this client went from a 6-day a week to a 3-day a week, 3.5-day a week work week. and increase the amount of money they made. But it was done smartly. So what they did is basically, and this is from the Robin Sharma concept, is they would do a sprint. And a sprint means those 3.5 days were incredibly intense, like no play around, zero social media, no extra calls. Like it was go time. Very, 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 very hardcore. No play around. Sleep, wake up, work, right? 3 solid days. And this is 3.5. So then 3.5 days, zero work. So there was a total, this person will go to the beach. This person will go to the botanical gardens. They may go to Tobago once in a while if they could afford it. Like, in other words, they would do stuff to totally reset. Not like take Saturday off and do a little work on Sunday. And I think that's actually not entirely true. So it was 3.5 days of sprint. And then on Sunday, they actually worked Tuesday to Friday. But what they would do is on Sunday, they would look at their past week, look at their forward week. It takes about a half hour, and they planned it out. Monday, they chilled out because they knew what their week was going to have. And then they just did it. And then something that was helpful too, and this is something that they haven't fully implemented during the process, is building people that are doing the stuff that aren't the highest. So the challenge that all entrepreneurs have is when you start, you don't have money typically, unless you're from a wealthy situation. Most of us don't have money. The bootstrap concept is legit for almost everyone. And I think it's a smarter way to do it anyway. If you're wealthy, bootstrap. Don't be stupid because you'll just blow money. Seriously, because people who don't bootstrap, they just make stupid decisions. People who get the VC capital, they blow it on a party or two and it's gone. They buy the newest computers and all that. Anyway, but so what you do is you're bootstrapped and you slowly build up what you know you need for someone to help you. So if you're doing 2 or 3 hours a week on this thing, which is unbelievable, let's say you just loathe admin and it's easy and mundane, and you could have some VA do it anywhere, Trinidad, Philippines, it doesn't matter. Super easy to train, and then time saved. And yes, you have to be with them 20 minutes. So for 20 minutes or 3 hours, that's the exchange. You just save 2 hours, 40 minutes. Congratulations. You begin doing this slowly over time. Then, and here's the important thing, you don't make that 2 hours, 40 minutes of saved time YouTube time. You make it your highest value time. So if it's seeing clients, if it's doing whatever service you do, focus, getting new clients, whatever it is, make that all it is. And then over a little bit of time doing this, the sprint's easier, and this is how these people can make more money. You make more money because you actually slowly build out a team smartly. And then, and ideally that first like VA helper person who's, let's say, doing admin or whatever simple tasks they do. The great thing about a virtual assistant is you can hire someone. I know people who start people at 1 hour a week. Don't think of it as a full-time employee. People often think it's got to be 5, 6. No. Start with tasks or start with hours, very small. And then from there, eventually add on. Because the thing is, you'll feel so free, so liberated. You'll be like, I am loving this far more than I thought. And you'll really want to build a team. And then at that point, you're like, I'm making it happen. And then it will happen. So the sprint, that little Sunday blip of time, which is usually about 30 minutes, which just makes you have a clarity for what the heck's happening during the week. And if any things need to be done, shoot an email, whatever, you can usually do it. And then the sprint is how you do it. The sprint is really how you do it. The blessing entrepreneurs have and the problem entrepreneurs have, the blessing is you create your time. The problem that we all have is that we are very like, our business is our baby, and we do everything for our baby. I'll take care of my baby, like, but your baby needs to sleep sometimes, or your baby needs to, hibernate or whatever. Because the problem is, if you don't do that, your baby you will become the sole employee and forever feel like you left the corporate or whatever job and felt like you were like tied up in bondage there. Now you're tied up in bondage for the company that you own. And that's the worst. And most entrepreneurs are like, can't go, man. Sorry. Got to work. I'm like, it's your company, so we got to make it so you can free yourself from that. Cause it's the worst. I mean, most entrepreneurs I know are unbelievably hands tied. Can't do it. Sorry, Saturday's out. I got to work. And they didn't get into business to do that. And the reason that they're stuck doing that is because they are incredibly inefficient throughout the week. So when I say this three, and I would, if you're working 6 days a week, start with 5, shrink it down, and then eventually 4. And then if you're as efficient as this client was, down to 3, 3.5. But this client, it's a woman. She's like, John, this is an intense week. Like literally, she's like, I get to talk to her 5 minutes. That's all you got, John. Got a meeting coming up. It's like, so it has this intensity, but she's like, come Friday noon, doors closed. So that intensity has afforded the freedom. So until you have a giant team, because you can build a team, you don't need as much intensity, but she actually says it feels really, really good because it kind of fuels that inner drive to have that intensity. So that would be my answer to that, because the burnout is legit. It will happen because we just move more and more that direction. I'll take a later meeting. I'll do that on Sunday. And then the week's taken and you don't have time for your kids, your husband, your wife, your dog, yourself, more importantly, yourself. And then you just got to scale it back. And the sprint's the way. I really think the sprint's the way.
Yeah, that just reminded me of this quote, wherever you go, there you are, which is applicable to all situations.
Yes.
So it's so funny because you move out of corporate because you say corporate is the problem, but then you go into a new situation and you can't blame corporate anymore, but somehow you created the same situation for yourself again. So it's like that thing that people really talk about where, your mindset and your perception and your contribution to your situation, you know what I mean? Which is even about relationships, but just that you're talking about, it just reminded me of that quote, like wherever you go, there you are. Like you really have to do that work on yourself to kind of create those changes as well.
Definitely.